Hi there, it's Shell, and today I'm going to show you a family favorite, and this is called 4-layer pie. So we're going to make the first layer, which is 1 cup of flour, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm just using organic sugar, and a 1/2 cup or a stick of butter. So I'm going to grab a spoon, and I'm just going to kind of mix up my flour and my sugar, and then I'm going to see how soft this is. I might pop it in the microwave for just a second, just so that it combines better. Okay, so I'm just going to, I melted it for about 30 seconds, so it was pretty cool, or pretty warmed up and pretty soft. So that doesn't bother me that it's melted. And then you're just going to stir that in. It's going to kind of be sandy, so it's not going to be like a wet mix. It's going to be kind of like a shortbread mix. It's just very simple. And then I'm going to add my nuts, and I'm just adding walnuts, just a 1/2 cup, but you can add pecans or whatever kind of nut you like. So I like the walnuts. I usually have those, you know, at home, and just kind of coarsely chop them. Okay, so let me grab my pan. I'm just using a 9 by 13 pan, and I'm just going to dump this in here and flatten. So sometimes I use my fingers. I don't like to get my hands all gunky. I know that's part of cooking, but it's not my favorite. So, and then we're going to pop this in a 350-degree oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to pop that in the oven, and it's going to brown up a little bit, and then we will come back and do layer 2. So I will see you in a minute. Okay, and now we are going to do our second layer. And in a bowl, you just want to do room temperature cream cheese. So this is 8 ounces of Philadelphia cream cheese. You can use no fat, less fat, full fat, whatever you want to do. I think this really makes the dessert. It is so good. So we're going to put cream cheese in there, if I can open it. I should have prepped everything, but as you guys know, I do not do a whole lot of recipes. I do cook a lot. I just don't do a whole lot, you know, on my channel. Okay, so I'm going to do that and see how soft it is. So I just like to use something that I can use with my hand and that is stiff enough. You don't want to use like a whisk. A whisk might be too flimsy, so I kind of like either a wooden spoon or a stiff spoon to mix this up. To 8 ounces of cream cheese, we're just going to add a cup of sugar, and this is just an organic sugar. And you could certainly do this in your mixer, or you know, use a mixer to mix this. But the recipe calls for 8 ounces of Cool Whip. Well, we don't really use Cool Whip anymore. We use the real stuff because of all the additives and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. I think it'll be easier to mix up. So in my stand mixer, I mixed up about a cup, about a cup of whipped cream with about 2 tablespoons or so of sugar. You don't have to be perfect on that. And I'm going to put about half of this mixture in my cream cheese and sugar. So, and I'm going to save about half of it for the topping. And it does call for 2 8-ounce containers of Cool Whip. So if you want to go that way, you certainly can. I have done this in many different ways. I've only done it in chocolate flavor, but I have made homemade pudding for chocolate, or, you know, for the pudding and stuff like that. But, you know, again, this is something that my family made pretty much yearly. And when my sister and I got, you know, old enough to make it, this is one of our favorite desserts. For Thanksgiving, I made homemade coconut cream pie and a homemade chocolate cream pie. And I kind of wanted something different. And I like this because it goes in the refrigerator. You can make it a day or 2 in advance. Pop it in the refrigerator and then just take it with you. So you just want to stir this until it's well incorporated. The organic sugar that we use takes a little bit longer to break down and kind of dissolve. So in order not to have that gritty texture, I kind of stir it a little bit longer. But, you know, you don't have to fold in the whipped cream or anything. That's just the way I do. And sometimes I just let it set for a minute or 2 and kind of work on dissolving that sugar. But I have noticed it's a little bit coarser than just the white bleached sugar. Okay. So we're going to work on the 3rd layer, and all that is a large box, and this one is 5.9 ounces, and this is just an instant chocolate jello. So we're going to put 3 cups of milk, and you can use any kind of milk that you'd like, and then just the contents of the chocolate pudding. Now if you don't have chocolate pudding where you are, you can certainly make your own pudding. So, and again, you can make any flavor that you like. We were raised on this using chocolate. So I like to, you know, like while that is cooling over there, you don't want to put hot stuff over there. So that's why I went ahead and did the 2nd and the 3rd layer. Well, and actually the 4th. The 4th is just more whipped cream. But, you know, just go ahead and mix it up. You know, if you do make it from scratch, which I have done before, it's just a really rich dessert instead of like a soft pudding dessert. I guess it depends on what your recipe is. My homemade chocolate pudding recipe has milk and egg and, you know, sugar and butter, and so it's quite a bit heavier. So I'm just going to kind of mix this in, and then we're just going to let it sit. And you can pop it in the refrigerator for a few minutes if you'd like to while you're waiting for your crust to cool. So you just want to mix it up really well. You know, you can use the stand mixer or whatever you'd like to. I don't mind. Just doing it by hand. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside. So now let's grab our crust. It's probably cool enough by now. And complete our 4-layer pie. Okay, so here is our crust. Doesn't that look good? And you just want it ended up cooking for about 20 minutes, 20-25 minutes on 350. So you just want it kind of brown around the edges. You can kind of see the brownness there. And then while that was cooking, I mixed, or cooling, I mixed up my first layer, which is again 8 ounces of cream cheese, a cup of sugar, and about 8 ounces of Cool Whip or whipping cream. So I'm going to go ahead and put that all over the top. And this is such a yummy pie. And you know, my friend, we're going to her house for Christmas, and she had never had this. I had it about 2 years ago, and she says, Michelle, how come you've never shared that recipe with me? You know, it's just one you don't think about. You know, you make it all the time, but I thought for sure that she would have had it, but she hadn't. So, okay, so that's our topping, our first layer, or second layer, because the first layer would have been the crust. Okay, and our third layer will be the chocolate pudding that we just mixed. Look how thick it is now. It's really good and thick, so it's going to sit up really nice. I'm going to pop that on here. And you can use, again, any kind of milk. I just used a large packet of chocolate pudding and 3 cups of milk. And that was the package directions. So let's smooth that out. Grab my spatula that I had a while ago. And this is just so simple. It's pretty simple. It's kind of time consuming. So even though we want to make it, sometimes we just don't, because it seems like you're in the kitchen for hours, but it's so worth it. Okay, and then to finish it off is more Cool Whip or whipped cream. So I went ahead and went over and washed my spatula so that I would have like a really clean look on top. And it's just so pretty. Again, when I made my whipped cream, I did just a couple of tablespoons of sugar, because I think whipped cream is kind of sweet by itself, so I don't think you need a whole lot of sugar. So much for making it look pretty. You know what? It's just my sister and I and our family, so we will be fine. And if you wanted to, you could put nuts on top, or you could shred up some chocolate, you know, curls or something. That would be pretty too. So I think I'm gonna put a top on it, and I chose a pan that, has a lid. Sometimes I forget to choose pans that have lids. And then I'm just going to pop this lid on here and stick it in the fridge overnight, or until we head over to my sister's house on Christmas Eve. So I hope you guys give this a try. I would love to see what you think of it. Be sure and hit that subscribe button. Occasionally I do have other recipes going up on my channel. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day.